Hi, it's Andrea. I'm with Catholic Basics. I'm not crazy, I promise. I'm doing this thing. I want you to try. Please try. I'm making one hand go forward and one hand go backwards. It looks like I'm just moving my hands at different times, but I'm not. This one's going forward, this one's going backwards. Like, you gotta try it. You gotta try it because this is our lesson on virtue and this is how we learn it. Because a long, long time ago, if you asked me to do this, I would do what you're doing right now. Are you trying? Because it's just kind of like your brain can't figure it out and one goes one way and one goes the other. But now I've stayed home many a night and I practiced and I practiced and I practiced and now look at me now. So seriously, like I can just do this without thinking and it's easy. But at first it was so awkward and so difficult. And you guys, that's what like growing in virtue can be like. Virtue is muscle memory like spiritually. So it's like choosing the right, good, holy thing over and over so that it becomes a habit to do good. Okay, so just like this is muscle memory because I physically practiced it so many times, when I exercise spiritual virtue and choosing the right thing, all of a sudden it can start to become natural. I mean, like, look how good I am at this. Now, if I could only be this good at virtue, what would that look like? It would look like when someone says something rude or something to me, instead of like immediately going back at them, I pause and I prayerfully pause and I choose love. Like, as a human being, because I'm created in God's image and likeness, because you're created in God's image and likeness, with that comes like incredible power to rise above our base desires, to rise above what just comes natural. What do I mean? Well, base desires, like our desire, like I'm starving, so like I'm just gonna like grab a handful of cake and like put it in my mouth, right? Like we're not animals. Like we don't need to do things like that. Like I have a desire for something or someone, right? Like our world tells us like, well, that's if you love, then, and really love is willing the good. Love isn't about just acting out in any way we want. Love is about willing the good of the other. We'll talk about this another time, but like, so that's what I mean by base desires. So we don't need to just act on everything we feel. Someone cuts me off in the road when I'm driving. I feel like I want to scream and yell at them, but I have the ability through my free will, through God's grace, to say, nope, maybe they're on their way to the hospital. Like maybe, they're just having a bad day, but me getting upset isn't going to change that. Maybe when your sibling comes along and like, they start poking at you, you just want to, just like get right back at them. But as a human being, you can make a choice to love. You can say no. So building virtue is about saying no to our base desires and really rising up to what it means to be human and good, true, holy, and beautiful. So if you can over and over practice these virtues, like you'll start to change. So I'm going to give you two wicked cool examples. One, a young person I know when they were in high school, their relationship with their parent was like really, really rough. And so for Lent, they said, whenever I come home from school and my parent asks me how my day was, I'm going to answer in paragraph form. And I was like, what do you mean? Like, you're going to write it out? And they're like, no, I'm just going to like use that many words. Like, I'm going to give more details, right? Because you know how annoying, like you come home from school, you're exhausted, you had a hard day, you have drama with friends. It's so hard, you guys. It's really hard to be a teenager. It's hard to be a human. And someone's like, so how was your day? What happened? And you just want to be like, leave me alone. And instead, this person decided like they were going to breathe and like actually give an answer. And they did. And they'd be like, and then this happened and this happened. And thanks to my lunch. And like just kind of remembering and making this effort. Like as humans, you can rise above. Like you can be so much better. Really, like God became human so you can become God. And I don't mean your own God. I mean, be God in that, like be love. Like you can do it with God's grace and with a lot of practice. It takes every time, like pausing and praying. I have another friend. He struggled with patience. So literally every time he went in a store, he would choose the line that was the longest because he knew if he could build up muscle memory with like being in the longest line, that he'd be able to use that same muscle, the patience muscle, in a different place with a difficult relationship within in his life. And he really felt like it worked. So he would like take the longer way home. He would go to the longest line. And any opportunity he could, he would exercise virtue, exercise, just like physical exercise gets fitness. Spiritual exercising makes us holier. It makes us virtuous. And you're like, yeah, Andrew, whatever. I don't want to be holy. But this is the thing. When I say be holy, it really means like be happy. Like that anxiety you deal with, that depression you deal with, those struggles you deal with, that stress you deal with. When we're holy, it means like we're close to God. We're set apart. And like life becomes so much more joyful. Doesn't mean your problems go away. It means that life becomes more joyful. It's really true. So what are they? What are these virtues? So there's 2 different sets, and for the sake of Catholic basics, I'm going to give you a way to remember them, okay? There's theological and cardinal, okay? When you think theological virtues, I want you to think 3. Theological, 3. Theological, 3. Theological, 3. And the 3 are faith, hope, and love. And we receive the theological virtues at baptism. And so faith is like the ability to believe, right? To trust, believe there's something more beyond what we see. And so like living life takes faith, you guys, not just being Catholic. Like I pour the milk carton, I trust that there's milk inside. I go at a green light. I have faith that someone on the other side is stopping at their red light. I have faith tomorrow that the sun will rise. Like faith is a gift, and it's something we need to operate every single day, not just to live out our life with Jesus Christ, but mostly for that. Okay, hope is to have hope in things unseen, and a promise in your heart that in the future that things will get better, that there's hope, that Jesus basically did resurrect from the dead, and that like our hope is like heaven, and that no matter what we're going through, that we can come out that other end of the cursive letter E, and that we can keep on keeping on, and that God's going to use it for good. And love is willing the good for the other. Some people think love is just acting on those like base desires. That's totally not what love is. That's oftentimes the opposite of love. Love is willing the good of the other, and like actually seeking to love them the way they need to be loved and help them, and willing the good. And ultimately, why I do this, like why I've chosen to live my life like teaching weird things like this, is because the ultimate good is heaven. Like you could give someone $1 million quadrillion dollars, and if all this is true, you guys, it's nothing compared to heaven. Like heaven is the greatest good you could will for someone, and it's the greatest happiness, and it can really, 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 really be yours as we grow and live out the virtues. So that's 3 theological, and then there's 4 virtue, and these are really the ones where we need the muscle memory so that we build the tendency to do good. And they can be remembered by Jesus frees the people. We can't build virtue without Jesus anyway, and he gives us grace. Jesus frees the people. Jesus stands for justice. J, justice. That's like to love what's right and wrong, to know the difference. Frees stands for fortitude, which is perseverance, to carry on, even when it's hard, when we're in the backwards loops of our cursive letter E's, to continue, to keep on keeping on. It stands for temperance, which is basically moderation in good things, right? Like, so that I can have 1 brownie and not 72. Please, dear God, trying on that one. And trying on all of them. And then people stands for prudence, and prudence is the right amount of the right thing at the right time, right? Like timing's everything. Like it just isn't prudent to ask your parents for a ride to the mall when like you've just like totally gotten in trouble for not doing your chore. Just not good time. Wouldn't be prudent. But also like prudence would be, being careful, making good decisions. Whose car are you getting in? What decisions are you making? Who are the people you're hanging around with? That's prudence. And so many of the virtues depend on that virtue of prudence, because we need to discern, where am I going to go? What's going to set me up for a win tonight when I walk out the door? What's going to help me be who I really am as a human? Because anytime we choose to go with our base desires, or just choose the easy way out, or decide not to exercise and be strong through something, we're basically like not being fully who we're created to be in our humanness, which is like an image and likeness of God. So like you don't want to lower yourself like that. Like you can live this like life that's like truly, truly everything God has created and called you to be. So like that beautiful smile like that he's given you, you're using it to brighten people's days and to help like people have joy. And that great athletic ability he's given you, you're using it to glorify God, and you know that he's given you that ability. So that the intelligence he's given you, the opportunity to be at the school you're at, like that you're actually taking that seriously, and you're using it in order to like make yourself better, right? And animals can't do that. Animals aren't created in God's image and likeness, but you are. You are so special. You have like amazing, incredible potential with the grace of God. And he wants to help you become fully, fully alive, fully who you are. So he's looking for you today, like to invite him into that moment where base desires, like just those easy things are like tempting you to be like, Jesus, help me be strong through this. Help me not yell. Help me not look at that screen. Help me not like give me the grace to be where you need me to be right now. Let me go do something to help someone else. And he's just waiting for you to invite him in. He's a gentleman. He won't come in if you don't ask. But if you invite him in, he will help you. He will give you a different opportunity. And you can go take it and offer up those temptations and go and be who he called you to be. Because you will make the world a better, more beautiful, amazing place. The world needs you. The world needs virtuous people. And I promise not only we make the world better, you'll make your own life so, so, so much better. God bless you guys. Love you guys. Take care.